Good evening, everyone. Hot off the presses of the London Grand Tournament, I've got the king of the judges, Mr. Brian Horton. I've got the king of our chat, Mr. Stephen Crowley. And I've got some cows that are currently subbing in for Mr. Tom Ogden, who is currently off fighting a kraken. I think it might have been something else, but in my mind, kraken.
Definitely Kraken.
Definitely a Kraken.
We got a ton of stuff to talk about. It was a busy weekend.
There was 3 massive tournaments, without a doubt.
Well, the games played was bonkers town. Like over the weekend, we had 6,783 games played that recorded off the only data slate that I look at. But that's just a lot of games. Uh-oh. Lyle coming in with a $2 super chat with eggplant emoji.
Lyle starting us off strong.
Well done, sir. Well done. Let's give a shout out to Liam. Let's also give a shout out to the finals. Ed, as always, I'm just saying there might be a guy that puts in more miles streaming 40K than any other person in the world.
Joe is a boss.
He's not even just the final boss anymore. I think he basically became Vect. He doesn't even have a model anymore. He's too awesome for having a model. He doesn't even have a data slate anymore.
And he's going to be at the Michigan GT this weekend.
Yep.
I was going to say London to Lansing. They're right next to each other. He's boss mode. You have to give it to him. Great. Love his stream. It's hard for me to watch anybody else's on that, by the way, because I have a hard time watching games when I can't see what's going on, because I'm pinkies up when I'm watching 40K. I need to know exactly what's happening for you to keep my interest. And he has all those side cams and stuff. It's nice.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. He does the best job currently streaming of anyone. And I can't even, there's no second place at the moment. He is beyond the best.
The nice part is too, he makes it relatable to players that might not understand at that level, or like to people's family members. Because my wife said when we did Nova, she was like, it's impossible to figure out what's going on in the game unless Joe's telling me what's going on in the game.
Exactly. Anna has my favorite comment so far. You have to unlock New Game Plus to even face Joe in combat.
All right, so might as well focus a little bit. We'll start with the London GT, which Liam won. Congratulations, Liam, to wait until Monday to win a super major. Good job. With Chaos Space Marines. And
I've been saying it for a while. What did I say was the most underrated?
And I've been saying it right along with you.
They just have, the thing is I love it. The list, there was some really great lists there too. Now, their meta is a little bit different. We were talking about this before we went live. They have a much more open terrain set. The UKTC terrain is much more open. And also, they had so many players. Well, 760 players, I think it was. And they cut down after 5 games. So you have to put up some big numbers and win all your games to even get going to make it through there. So you've got some very aggressive lists out there, you know what I mean? So they can do that. So it is a little bit different. I actually do really like looking at the England meta with that, because they come with just so much different of a meta because of that. But man,
well, I think one of the things that we're gonna see is the optimizations of damage output for stuff, to where the Noah arc style list that we've talked about a few times, where you have twosies of a lot of things to make sure you have that built-in redundancy that you need. And in particular on that UKTC terrain, it is definitely evident that you needed to have that.
Yeah. Yep. And the thing is I really like CS. It's funny for me. I was just talking to several other players about this, taking CSM to tournaments, and one of their fears was, I'm super confident if I get into the top cut, the top 16, the top 8 or whatever, because CSM plays very well into the other elite armies. Its only weakness is trash. You know what I mean? So like it's a funny army because it plays so much better into the top than it does into the bottom / middle. You know what I mean? Still powerful. It can obviously win through those also.
But if you look at like list Liam was running, right, which I'll run down really quick. It had 3 Chaos Lords, 2 Cultist Mobs, 2 Chaos Rhinos, a unit of 2 units of 5 chosen, a unit of 10 chosen, 2 Forge Fiends, 2 Obliterators, 2 Warp Talons, the allied force of 3 Nurglings in a unit, Sly, I don't know how to pronounce that correctly, and the Blue Scribes. And I think we're going to see Sissel, I don't know how
she pounds for 120 points. Bangs.
Yeah, she's dirt cheap. So, I mean, you got the massive damage output with the Obliterators. The Warp Talons can clear trash very, very well. The Forge Fiends do a great job with a ton of different stuff. Chosen can do a massive amount of damage. And also with the little 5-man squads who kind of trash themselves. The Rhinos are nice. As we've always said, transports are good. The Cultist Blobs are the Cultist Blob is your trash.
You know, that's my jam. They're so durable for the points, and they can regen on both command phases. People make mistakes all the time. They try to nickel and dime them like they're used to picking up trash, and all of a sudden they're all back. So they feel like Necron. They are the Walmart Necrons.
And the Chaos Lords with Demon Hammers can surprisingly slap harder than you think they can.
Yeah, because you pop the strat, right? Or the 1 per game ability, and you get +1 to basically all your stats for one go. And that's most of the time all you need them to do.
And they become some serious distance.
He trades up remarkably well.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta figure you're doing 2 damage on the big guy attacks. You know what I mean? So it's legit on that. I mean, CSM just puts out so much damage. It is difficult. It's very skill army to play because you can lose critical mass very quickly because it revolves around a couple key pieces all over. But man, that thing, whew. You get blasted by a blitz, or you get all the devastating wounds from one of the Forge Fiends with all those rerolls, exploding 6s, lethal hits. It's nothing to mess around with.
Yeah. And the chaos ability for I can't remember the name of it right now, where you get to why can't I remember the name? Wonder you get to do all the extra stuff.
Dark Pact,
thank you. Is really good, and you see that the execution of that in a lot of different lists,
especially with the Hellbrute. You get a single Hellbrute a lot of times, given that aura of using both packs. So You can get some serious nastiness in there.
And I mean, if you look at other Chaos Space Marine lists that did well, they all used Dark Packs. Chaos Space Marines a remarkably good weekend. What did they win? Like 2 events and topped 10 in, they had 17 placings overall on the weekend, if I remember correctly.
17 places over the well, and over the last, basically since the data slate, so the last 3 weeks, CSM have 4 event wins, and they've been winning at a consistent 53% pretty much every weekend.
Yep. And I think that's perfect. I mean, they're not broken. They take a lot of skill to play correctly, and it's doing very, very well.
Thank you.
Let me go to the super chats real quick. Lyle coming in with a $5 super chat. CSM win a major and Tom is out. I assume it's in the bathroom projectile vomiting from the news. he's psyching the Black Templars up now to go on a crusade. Hunter comes in with a $2 super chat. France versus France. I think, sorry, it must have been France versus Belgium. I was given wrong news, damn it. At London GT, is the UK meta weak?
The UK meta is definitely not weak. It's just matchup dependent, especially with the way their terrain goes, and the way some of their missions were.
Well, their games just turn around so fast, because of that. Because he also designed 2 of those missions, and I really think he did design them specifically for that. But he had 2 of the missions, and Crawley and I were originally looking at going, but just time, monies, and everything else. His time, me money, made it so that we were looking at the boards and stuff, and 2 of the missions were all 3 middle objectives were just wildly in the open. And I really think he did that to get that differentiation because it was on rounds 3 and 5. So you're like, hey, I got to cut after 5 rounds. I'll just make 2 of these missions, figure it out, stand in the open.
Hey, I think I figured it out. Okay, I'm gonna make a small joke, but maybe the reason that they came over to win Adepticon is because they're usually used to playing on tables where they don't have to worry about terrain.
Oh,
Oh, shots fired.
good
In
time.
no way does Crawley's
Well,
comment.
let's look at the actual. Let's look at the stats real quick, and we'll go to some individual tournaments and stuff. Because I do want to touch on a couple of the armies that are not doing well. Let's start at the tops with people that were doing really well. I mean, as you said, I mean, you've been saying this for a while, Crawley. Eldari are just dead. Oh, wait a minute.
In the water.
Oh, they're totally crushing still. They've won another 7 tournaments since the data slate. They're doing all right. Oh yeah, is that the most of any army? Yeah, it is. So they're
like
doing all right.
that just automatically wins games.
So you've got Tau as the biggest mojo right coming in. They really came from 0 to hero. Tau's rocking out. It's got 4 wins so far, same as CSM, and a lot of games played. We had 440 CSM games played and 372 Tau games played. Huge. Not as many as the Eldar, which had 633 still. So, yikes. So,
You know what I find really interesting about that?
what's that?
It feels like hobby lag isn't as much of a factor as it used to be. Back before, like even like during the Dark Eldar spree, right? We had such a significant time where there was like a lag for coming through, but like CSM take off and immediately CSM have such a huge lion's share of the market have played, right? I mean, Tau's one of those armies that like a lot of people own it, so I'm not as surprised there. But the Eldar pickup was significantly quick too, with how many people were able to jump into playing Eldar. So you're not seeing as much hobby lag.
Let me pause on this because I'm going to address this in a minute anyways. But Matt O with the $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Someone get the drug stash out for the Drakari. Ooh.
They need it.
I
Speaking of,
think the big thing with the hobby lag on Chaos Space Marines is everything that is good for them right now has been good in the past or has come in, especially like the Ford Fiends. They've been in every limited edition box set they've put out, so people have had them sitting around and on shelves. So I think for the most part, there wasn't a hobby lag there. Eldar, if you played in 7th edition, you had a Wraith Knight. So it was an easy transition over.
I've got 4. and
exactly.
They're back to collecting dust. But it's a big deal in this is like most armies are in a good place. Deathwatch is still doing really well. It didn't have a lot of games played, so we didn't have a lot of. They actually had the highest percentage, but very few games. They only had 59 games played with 11 players. They did get a tournament win. Templars is showing up hot and heavy. We'll see if that continues with the new book, because I think Black Templars are actually really good with the new book too. But we had my Orc boys doing well. The tournament win. Excuse me. Tyranids are still really performing. This your bugs are really rocking it out there.
Yeah, I mean, that Synaptic Nexus is no joke. It's not my personal favorite playstyle, but it's probably the strongest competitive-wise. But still, Invasion Fleet's really good, and the Vanguard has some good play, so I think they're going to be fine. They're gonna keep rocking in that 50 to 55% win rate. I don't think they're going to go. If they dip down, it won't be by much. It'll be in that nice middle range that we all want.
That's a big deal. Metamoney says this. How do you feel about no Imperial Knights going 4-1 at LGT when everyone else had at least one? IK dead? I don't think IK are dead. I think that they have to really, really change what they're bringing, though. That, I think, might be either a hobby lag or a playstyle lag. Because I think... because I think that, for instance, if you're looking at Knights, and you're like, why is CK doing well and Imperial Knights not doing well? Because I think a lot of players were... a lot of the top Imperial Knights players are guys that brought big knights. They brought 2 to 3 big knights, and I think that the playstyle now with no towering and everything else is leaning towards all the small knights. So if you're bringing that, I think there's a lot of times with the big knights right now,
and the small knights haven't been available in stores as a non-3D printed model probably since March at the earliest. I think that was the last time I got them into my store.
Yeah. KR coming in with a super chat with 199. So not a single Custodes player went 3-0. That's a real thing too. Custodes and Imperial Knights have taken a really big fall. And I think we were just talking about this before we went live. In my opinion on both of them is no one can survive the quad nerf. So both of them got too many nerfs. Were any of the single nerfs too much? No, it's the combination of it. You know what I mean? It's that synergy nerf really knocking you down. So it's the big nerf for, at least in my opinion, for the Custodes, were the devastating wounds change, because that made their army ability not anywhere near as good as it was, right? Because they're not mortals anymore. They just ignore their good invul save and their armor save. So devastating wounds really wreck them. And you add into the top of that, they lost squad sizes. That double whammy at the same time just really killed them. Yeah.
They went from having the most resilience in the game to having a 4-up against every damage type in the game to having somebody rolls a 6 and I literally have no defense.
Yep.
I mean, it's a big deal on that. So you have too many small things. I think the Knights could have been just resolved by rolling back all their points and probably their reroll nerfs. You know what I mean? And just going, okay, you guys lost towering, go ahead, here's your army. You know what I mean? Because after that, why? You know what I mean? Really, literally, why? So the other one that I really want to talk about is, because I think everybody can be fixed fairly easily. Whew. Did Drakari just get hit because Eldar got hit on points? Is that the deal? Because
got hit because of the the edition change.
No, I'm saying, is it a combination then? Go ahead, hit me.
They got comboed, right? They got hit with a points increase on their best unit, which probably was only needed because of the Eldari stuff, right? That was the only reason it got hit. And
all the units that people took in their Eldar, yeah.
So it's really I think they got hit because Eldari got hit. I think Drukhari, on a fundamental level of just their index, they messed up some of their core units and didn't give them enough strength for what they were designed for. Like when witches and incubi are not great in close combat, that's a bad sign for an index.
I mean, I think that they're wildly, I agree with JCMS. The Drukhari are wildly the worst faction now. Like, I actually tried to make some lists, so I got access to everything from the Dark Elves, and I could, besides just basically going, here's more Eldar in your Dark Eldar list, it didn't feel great, man. They just don't have the offense. They don't have the anything, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Well, they're a glass glass faction.
They're a glass cannon, but there's no cannon. They're just glass.
Yeah. Glass. That you can't have. They've always been the army that, like, you don't want to go into melee with witches because they will mess you up if they interrupt. And now it's like, I'm going to go into melee with witches. What are they going to do? Poke me?
Yeah.
They don't even take out trash well now. You know what I mean?
No, they don't take out anything.
They just do nothing. So I don't know. It's a big deal on this. Also, I do want to go into the fact that like 0 players got 3-0 with Custodes this week. Basically, they couldn't win their first 3 games on that. And again, I think it's the same thing. I think Knights and Custodes have the same issues, which is they got hit by too many nerfs. I think Knights and Custodes probably should have got 1.5 nerfs, and they got 4. You know what I mean? And the combination of that and the meta itself changing is too big. You know what I mean? So I don't know. And the thing is right now, I think you can still fix the Custodes and the Knights fairly easy with a combination of just like small tweaks, to be honest with you, and rolling back some stuff. I don't know what to do with Drukhari right now. Like, I literally don't have the answer for Drukhari right now, unless you...
Drukhari's fundamental rules change. That is unfortunately, you need a codex.
Yeah, I mean, they just need their units need to be wildly different. They just don't do anything. Like, literally 2/3 of that army can't hurt anything.
And the earliest we would see a codex for them, based upon there's going to be one a month, it looks like, for the next 6 months or 7 months that we know of. the earliest you're going to see them is next fall.
Sorry. Before we continue on, I have to hit the wall. Drukari, probably a glass bong, to be honest. Witches are tickle princesses now. Totally lore accurate. You know, all those Dark Elder lores of tickle princesses. I don't remember any of those particular stories, but continue. Sorry, the wall was just blowing up with excellent comments.
There's fundamental things when you're looking at a faction where I don't know how cheap that they can actually get to be fixed, right? Like Imperial Knights without towering. I don't think even if you were to revert the rerolls and you were to revert the bondsman change and you were to revert the points changes, like I don't know that they would be on the caliber of being able to hang even now, because
I disagree on that. I think that if you took back all that stuff, I think that you would see that all that stuff coming back together would give them a significant boost. It's the same thing about taking those things away that gave them a significant drop off in power.
Yeah, but the towering one is like, if they don't have the ability to engage at long ranges, then what are they there for?
Small knights with buffs. I mean, I think that you know what I mean?
I think see more people taking Bane Blades and other large models, especially on GW terrains, because you can't shoot anything.
True. And the thing is with that, you need speed, you need movement, you need the ability to clear around. And the small knights have that, which we're seeing CK doing well because they're moving and shaking. They're doing especially well on the GW style terrain where you can move through the 2-inch terrain and stuff like that. And obviously they have the strat to Kool-Aid Man, but they have better movement than Imperial Knights do. And I think that they just do better right now with that. I mean, Imperial Knights, when you went shooting for shooting, Imperial Knights were devastating Chaos Knights. When you do combinations of moving and engaging, the Chaos Knights are doing a significantly better job than the Imperial Knights are.
So continuing on talking about the bottom. So Space Wolves with their index, right, are just not so great. Maybe with the changes upcoming for them, they'll be fine. But are those the two worst right now? And you're talking about Index Space Wolf, not Gladius Task Force Space Wolves.
Yeah, but the thing is that, I mean, the Marines are Marines on that. With Space Wolves, I think that people are trying to play. And the thing is I wouldn't even bother yet, because I think that you're going to see some really good Space Wolf lists come out of the Stormlance, for sure. And possibly the Vanguard. I mean, we were just doing a video on that. We were talking about that on Sunday. Like, Logan Grimnar with some Terminators infiltrating 9 inches away from you isn't exactly something you're super excited to see.
No.
Yeah, so also a unit of Thunderwolf Cav with a couple characters showing up on turn 1. So I think they're going to turn that around. I know they're there now, but I think that they're going to be significantly better in the very near future. I mean, we already know that it's there. You know what I mean? We just have to wait for it to be.
So that really takes it down to, because we assume that Space Wolves, Space Marines are going to hop up some because of the new index stuff or the new Codex stuff. So that leaves Imperial Knights and Drukari Sisters kind of at the ones below that line. Grey Knights seem to have taken a little jump back up to that what's considered an acceptable range by GW metrics. So is it in Custodes are in that 45-ish range, and I agree that they could use a little rollback on some of their nerfs. But it seems like for the most part, there's really just two fairly struggling armies right now.
Yes.
And
well,
Sisters can score points. They might not be winning massive amounts of games, but they have builds, right? Because at Crucible, a Sisters army did fairly well. It finished in the top 10, went X and 1. So, I mean, there's play there.
I don't know. Like, we say there's play, but when we say that there's play, what is the goal, right? If you're talking
scoring
about
points and winning games.
Right. I don't know that they can reliably win a GT at this point. Like, would you be comfortable taking it Sisters to a GT right now and trying to be able to win it, even if it was hometown?
No, probably not.
Like, I don't know
things where I go, look, they're okay, but they're not winning a GT.
If you look at the armies across the bottom, it's majority of them are armies that are focused on combined arms play, where the melee functional changes and the toughness expanding has literally gutted them the most, right? Like, Marines are struggling right now. Grey Knights are struggling right now because they don't have anything to deal with armor. Before, the solution was liberally apply axe to face or hammer to face, right?
Mhm.
And it made like this rock paper scissors where the game was in this unique balance where, oh cool, Rogel Dorns are ridiculously good because they're 1 pip higher on toughness, so they can thunder hammers might bounce off of them, right? But +1 to wound would nullify that, so you had to be really careful about it. Whereas now there's nothing melee except for, oh cool, I've got this really cool strength 14 spear. I just win the game with this one model. But yeah.
A $2 super chat from Lyle, and all of you in chat, screw you, because I now have Gangnam Style in my head, and I am singing it in the new note of Crawley Style. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm doing the dance.
Oh, Crawley style.
Raleigh style.
Oh God, we're gonna drink and do that dance. This is gonna be terrible.
Oh, that's gonna be awful.
If you want to see this, come to the next Salt City.
Yes. But
All right, so
I'm looking
where do
at
we
the
want to go next? So we've kind of covered the meta. We've looked at what's at the bottom.
well, I want to say on the bottom on it because I really do disagree on part of this. I don't know what to do at all with Drakari. So like I agree that they just need an index at this point in time, but I do think that I feel that if I was given a half hour and could get okay by it, that I could make custodes and knights work. I mean, I could at least make I really think I could do custodes easier than I could do knights, but I do think that knights could be relevant with just taking away the nerfs. You know what I mean? Just give them back all the shit you took from them. Matt O with a $5 super chat. Did anything y'all see in the Codex make Marines better considering they lost Oath? I make fun, but I mostly agree with Brandon on it. This makes me sad, Matt, because I do not agree with Brandon on this, and I'm going to make Marines work. Lyle comes in with $2, and now we're finally demonetized.
I know I wasn't on the podcast on Sunday, but I actually think Marines are in a good spot. I think there's a couple of very unique builds that are going to be very fun. They're currently doing well, and they're only going to get better. All the wolves.
I just think that they're going to. I think that they didn't lose. They lost half of both, but there's a shit ton of stuff that's twin linked in the first place, and I think there's a lot of I've been making a lot of Vanguard builds. The Stormlances kind of make themselves because they're very assault armies. The army that I think is the low-key army that might be the strongest in the end, I just have to put it on the table more, is the Fire Monkey Death Squad. Pretty sure the Salamander one. What? That's not the detachment name?
You need to name. I need you to, whenever you play that in a tournament, it needs to be named at the top. Fire Monkey Death. That has to be the thing. Okay, there's no other choice.
So I think that as some of the played salamanders for a while, the +1 to wound strat being able to be used in both melee and shooting is a big deal. It's just something that you can base an army off it, if you know what I mean. And then you've got the mortal wound strat, and it's not capped, so you just put down a huge amount of flamers with rerolls, slam Vulcan down there.
I think the oops all dreads list that I've seen a couple people talk about, and Disflux just went on about it there for a second. I think the Iron Hands build of vehicles, dreadnoughts, and all that is going to be a nice, fun build, and it's going to be something that'll be really enjoyable for a lot of players, because there are a lot of players who love Space Marine tank armies, and they now get to play it, and it should be fairly effective.
I wouldn't know anything about one spam tank.
I'm not even going into chat. That wasn't even remotely where that was going, but I think that there's a lot to be done with a lot of these attachments, including that. Because you can use a lot of those armies in that close. We've got a lot, especially with the GW terrain. You've got a lot of maneuvering. You're getting a lot of close firefight fights. You know what I mean? When you're popping out, shooting over the middle, shooting over those flanks. I think that you're going to be able to use those close combat or close range fire things.
I don't know. I still think that there's just a hell of a drug of running 3 repulsor executioners in range of a dude that gives them all everything that you roll a 6 is lethal wounds with the volume of fire that you have. You're just like spreading your shots across the world.
Yeah, I just think you can do some serious damage with that. That's one of the ones that just doesn't come at me though. Like when I made the Vanguard list and I made some of the Stormlance, again, Kung Fu Theater. What is the the assault and charge ones.
Yes.
Stormlance.
Just call them just say the White Scars detachment. We'll be fine.
White Scars
okay?
detachment's fine. That one, those kind of just, I kind of built lists and they just kind of fell into place with what I thought. The others that is the one that like I feel could be made in so many different ways, and we'll have to put it on the table a lot.
I even sent a list to Irvin. What do you call Irvin? The playmaker?
Playmaker. This is Michael
Yeah,
Irvin.
I sent a list to the playmaker, and he responded back, and he was like, "You, sir, with no Estrellas is a disappointment."
The thing is, Estrellas is, he loves that Estrellas, by the way. That is the most hilarious thing. I love it. Hunter comes in all caps. You mean the Thunder Cav detachment? White Scars, but really space moves. Gotta use the detachment on that. So it's a big thing on that is that there's a couple things that I think are a big deal. That strat is bonkers town. It actually is a big deal for the Thunder Cav. The -1 to hit and -1 to wound. Somebody that's playing Orcs, it's a fairly big deal on that. Where you're like, hey, I already use that -1 to wound all the time. Add -1 to hit on that. Oh yeah, I can show up on turn 1. Excuse me, that's legit. So you've got some options. I think the Marines are going to be fine. I think that there's going to be a real discovery process going on with them. So I think that that's going to be kind of what happens with that is you're going to have to be making lists. You're going to be trying things out. That might be a hobby lag thing, to be honest with you. Because
so I think it's going to take probably 2 to 3 weeks before that meta shakes itself out. So you'll be looking at probably by the time we get to Rumble at the River, where that meta is kind of set and ready to go, because that'll give it basically a month to get settled. And that's where you'll see Marines start doing well.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we're going to see the first iterations of some meta lists when GW does their golden ticket event, because that's going to be the first like super large event that's going to be using it. Well, actually, I don't know. That's not true. SoCal might be adopting it, but that would be really quick after it.
I don't know. It doesn't come out officially for another week.
Until the 14th.
Week
October.
and a half, yeah.
So SoCal probably won't do it then. So yeah, that'll be the first super large competitive event that GW is going to be really focused on. That'll be running it.
And I still think you're going to see it's still going to take a little bit of time because you're going to have to get games in and things of that nature. Like I said, certain of those are going to be right away. You're going to figure it out. But I think. Go ahead.
Don't you feel like the index is so similar to the book? It's just detachment changes to the point where the iterations will be quicker, because you already have a feel for the models, right? It's like changing the suspension in your car.
But it makes a big difference on those stratagems, though. You a lot of times you're gonna base things on the stratagem and the power. Like the Vanguard, for instance, -1 to hit all over the place, and the ability to do +1 to hit, +1 AP makes certain units significantly better. So you can do different things. Also, again, Master of Ambushing, a unit of anything, is huge.
Wait, Hunter, it can't be legal at Orlando. It can't be, because literally Orlando. Oh, never mind. I'm thinking of Tampa. I'm sorry. Carry on.
I was about to say, you're not going, it's not Orlando where you're going to. Now you're just grouping Florida as yes.
Florida is yes, okay? That is the mythical land of yes.
I mean, it's a big thing on that. So I just think the fire death is going to be really good.
The one thing I've heard from a lot of the more fluff-driven players who like their army because of their army, I've heard a lot of people going, oh, well, now these select attachments, you can play, Imperial Fists as White Scars. And I'm like, well, yeah, Space Marines are pretty tactfully adaptable, and that's kind of the way they were designed. I was like, GW made it so you don't have to rely on a paint scheme for an army anymore. Isn't that kind of better for the hobby and for everybody overall? What do you guys think on that?
I've been big on that for a while. Like, I actually was talking to a couple guys that I coach that are real big hobbyists, big, really great painters. And I encourage them, especially when we started with whether, certain times where we had to have certain paint schemes and stuff like that. I said, you should make your own paint scheme so that no matter what chapter, what is good, you can mix and match and run stuff as your own. So choose something that you love, paint scheme wise, and just play that. You know what I mean? Play it as the Crawley unit. Play it as the Horton chapter. You know what I mean? Just make something that you really like, that you've spent a lot of time with.
So ND asked me a question, and I don't get a ton of them from chat, so I'm going to answer it. Do I think people are going to buy a lot of these new models, given that they're mostly size upgrades and none of the units are actually really good or must-have? Space Marines are the most bought army, so tons of these models are going to sell. It's 20% of GW's sales for their entire company. Yes, people are going to buy them like crazy. Those jump assault intercessors are going to be wildly popular, and that jump pack captain is a really cool model, and people don't only buy models for gaming. That's one of the things that I have to stress sometimes people just buy models because they're cool. Although we are a competitive thing, tons of models sell to people who do nothing but paint them and put them on a shelf.
Yeah.
So that's my answer to that.
My Marines were my first army that I ever painted, like actually tried to paint really good, right? And I used a color shifting paint on them, and it's like green in some light and blue in others. And I remember my first experience going into a game store was so horrible because I was playing as Ultramarines because I just wanted to learn how to play Marines, right? So I was like, okay. And the guy literally was like, you can't play those as Ultramarines in this store. You have to play them as Salamanders because they're green. And it was really bad. I'm glad that we're in a space now.
Well,
where
they also
people...
have successor chapters. That's the whole point.
Right, exactly.
None of those are like that. That's the whole thing. When I was just doing the Firestorm thing, that's not just salamanders. You know what I mean? There's a million different chapters now all over the galaxy that are all of those. You know what I mean? That's the whole thing. It's just that's the style that you fight in. That's about it.
That's like one of my favorite guys converting his Ultramarines over to Chaos. Like scraped all their shoulder pad insignias off and like flipped the decal upside down so they were Omega Chaos Marines. And I was just like, that's cool. It was fun. And I like that we're in a spot where you can do all this stuff now and play the detachments the way you want. And it doesn't matter if you're green, blue, red, orange, purple, fuchsia, rainbow colored, it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really care, but I've never cared on that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So I like the thing is, you know what I mean? We have, especially with Marines now, because they got broken up into so many different chapters now. So you have like just effectively thousands of different chapters out there, you know what I mean, that follow a specific style of fighting. That's about it. They're not even in the same gene seed half the time as what you think they are. You know what I mean? So there's so many successors like down the road. So that's a big deal.
On chat, we just had Simon Harris pop in saying that he was the highest ranked AdMech player at London GT, finishing 28th out of the 762. Congratulations, Simon.
Well done.
Absolutely fantastic, man. I'm actually going to like try and pull up your list now just to take a look at it.
That's absolutely amazing. I want to see his list because that's crazy. 28th with our the boys AdMech.
And he called me out. Let's be honest, Brad. You never cared because you couldn't tell the different colors.
So he had a Tech Priest Manipulus, Tech Priest Manipulus, Tech Priest Manipulus, Master of Annihilation on one, Omnisaya on the other. 1, 2, 3 Skitarii Vanguard, a Scorpus Dune Rider. 1, 2, 3 Iron Hail Ballistas, and then a whole lot of Cataphragm Breachers. So 2 units of 6.
How big are the ballistas? Like the 1, 2, 3s?
One ones.
Got it.
Individuals. 3 individual Dragoons. A Calidus Assassin and Canis Rex.
I was about to say that we have a lot more points left over until you slam down Canis Rex.
Yeah. So to look at him, he had 4 wins. He went 4-1. He did lose to one of the eventual top players, but he had an opponent game win percentage of 70.6, which means he fought some really good players.
Bro,
That's
you are
really
absolute legend.
Yeah, that is absolutely fantastic. Good job, Simon. Very proud of that. That is a great showing.
Yeah, I was like, let's talk about the U.S. tournaments. We got sidetracked, as we must do at all times.
So in the U.S., we had. Are we going to go U.S. or are we going to go?
Let's just start with what he has on it. We got Crucible, which was won by Tyranids. Tyranids,
All right.
Black Templars, Eldar, CSM, and more Black Templar.
Yep. I mean, you could have called it the Art of War Open because they did finish in the top, 5 of the top 7 was Art of War. So congratulations to that team on a good showing in an event. John Lennon won with a very interesting Synaptic Nexus list, which contained the Death Leaper, the Hive Tyrant with Bone Sword, Lash Whip, Heavy Venom Cannon, and Synaptic Control, a Neuro Tyrant with Powers of the Hive Mind, 2 units of Gargoyles, and I can't stress enough how much of an MVP those guys are.
Those guys are so insane. They just ruin people's lives.
Yep. 1 individual Biovore, 3 Exocrines, which is a very strong shooting base, along with 2 Maleceptors, also a really strong shooting base, and Synapse creatures at the same time. 3 of the MVP of the new releases, the Neurolictor, absolutely fantastic. 2 Pyrovores, a unit and a unit of 6 Zoanthropes, and a unit of 3 Zoanthropes. So a really strong, flexible list. A lot of pressure early on. Really well put together list.
Move block is real. I've made that. It's a hardcore. It's strong, man. It's a big deal. We had the Alabama tournament, the Come the Apocalypse, Eldari, Tyranids, Demons, Black Templars, CSM, Tau. Midland, Texas, in the Battle Bowl GT, we had a crown win, followed by Orcs, Knights, CSM, and more Demons.
I mean, should we also talk about our neighbors to the north with the Goonhammer Open Canada, which had Tau, Eldari, Death Guard, and Deathwatch?
And that's so much shooting right there. Pew, 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 pew.
Yeah.
So much pew-pewing. I
really liked the Tau list from this one. Logan had a pretty interesting take. So he had Kanyun, Commander Shadowsun, Longstrike, 2 Cadre Fireblades, 2 Breacher teams, 2 units of Stealth Suits, and my is the Vespid Stingwings, 2 units right there. Ghost Keel, Hammerhead, Piranha, 2 in that, in the 3rd unit. 1 Riptide, 2 Riptides, Tetra, and 2 Devilfish.
That is a different list.
It's a very different list, and he did XO with that list.
Very nice.
Yep.
Strong showings from a lot of different things, too. It's not even just... I'm very excited right now. I was already talking about it, but I really like the fact that not only are we seeing different factions out there, but we're seeing factions played differently with different lists, you know what I mean, and still winning. So that really bodes well for the meta in and of itself. So big deal on that. Yeah, I mean, I think that when you're looking at a meta and you're looking at the fact that they have multiple ways to actually play the game, that's actually when things are starting to get healthier. So the dolphins are swimming again. The grass is growing. So
can we talk about the interesting thing that appeared in almost every top Eldari list over the weekend? And that's Fugan.
Which is good. They were looking to snipe those vehicles, baby.
Yeah.
He's kind of showing up with his fiery fist.
I think that, and the fact that, and this is something you guys pointed out to me, his durability is very high.
Yeah. He also gets better when he's hurt, so you've got that. By the way, have you checked out, this is as usual, Brad, random segue, but I have it up my screen. The Armies on Parade on Warhammer Community here?
Yeah.
Ooh. Why aren't you guys painting more like that?
Sir, you need to paint like that for us so we can borrow your model.
Look, man, I painted so well, I only had to paint 1 model, then I stopped forever. KR's currently got it. I don't even know how you guys get to this. These are badass.
I mean, some of that stuff is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I am very lucky on the hobby side of things that I have a lot of guys in my local area. Mike Fox, Matt Aaron, Mike Norton, just a few to name who push me. My buddy Zuber, who pushes me to do more with painting, and just absolutely fantastic. Seeing these guys motivates me to do more and continually will.
Which is pretty awesome, to be honest with you. I'm blown away by this, and I think we need to display these more. We did it better. I mean, I'm going back. I'm going to get I already have my rose-colored glasses on, so now I can really look back. But like in the early 2000s, they always made it. They put those armies front and center to take a look at it. I do like the way they do it at Adepticon when they do armies on parade.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I really think we should celebrate the time and effort people put into that, and even as a non-modeler, you know what I mean. I just appreciate those armies. So,
Absolutely.
pretty badass.
Yeah. The amount of work that some people, there are people who I know who spend a year getting ready for armies on parade, doing a display board, painting up that army, doing their conversion work, and getting it seamless, flawless stuff. And you have to appreciate the amount of time and effort they put into that hobby side of things. It's absolutely fantastic. It's a huge part of our hobby that doesn't get discussed anywhere near enough.
Absolutely.
Loving life, living large. Before we go, I was yelled at by Brian that we haven't talked about it enough, and I was supposed to talk about it at the beginning. So now that we've reached 746, I mean that's close to the beginning, right?
Sure.
Rumble on the Rivers.
So, Death or Glory's second big super major. It's going to be in Indiana. Of course, right now my brain is fried. So, the
Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Fort Wayne, Indiana.
November 10th to the 12th at Grand Wayne Convention Center.
And the convention center is absolutely gorgeous. Check out Death or Glory's social media, their website for all the pictures of the event. They are feverishly working to get 10th edition GW terrain compliant. So give them a lot of credit for putting a lot of time and effort in. I know Tom and the team are going to be working hard on that. If I had the druthers time and money, I would drive out and even help myself. But I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys do for that. It's going to be fantastic. I'm doing the same for Du Bois GT, which is the week after that in Rochester, New York. So it's going to be a good time.
Love it. What all are you doing for this year? What are you running? What's the Art Star runnings? What's Brian running? Give me the year in review. I want to know what I'm going to. What am I shooting over to for you?
So what you're shooting over to for me is we're going to have the Salt City GT again next year. Of course, Du Bois will continue on. I'm trying to put together a 5-man teams event, a small one to start with, of course, because the amount of tables, terrain, and space that's required. So that is a work in progress at the moment that I'm trying to get very early in the year. So we will have info on that hopefully very shortly.
Very nice. I will be going back to back with you this year.
Absolutely.
Love everything about this. Because the Du Bois is going to happen the week after the Grumble on the Rivers is happening. So I'll jump on a train because driving means that I get hit by 80s action movie style apocalyptic events that happen every year when I travel there.
I mean, you may or may not. I got to give Brenton a ton of credit for that one. He got you guys there safe and sound.
I don't know how.
Apocalyptic snowstorm that shut down pretty much everything. But instead of driving around the snow like smart people, you guys went, we got this. We're from
power right through it, baby. That's all he said. I mean, we would have went straight through it, except for they shut down all the expressways we were trying to go straight through, so we had to take it. Like, what are you guys, emergency vehicles? No, just idiots that want to play with toys. Like, you know what? We're not even stopping you. We just don't care. Just go do whatever you want to do. So, I'm excited for this, though, because I think the meta's pretty cool. I think a lot of things are very viable. What do you got coming up? Well, you're not running them, but what are you going to, Crawley? What's your event? What events are you most excited for? I'll learn how to talk. I swear to God, guys.
Tampa, I am trying to work everything out to be able to go. That's super exciting. That's in 2 weeks, not this weekend, but the following weekend. Past that, I will be going to the Golden Ticket event for GW in Atlanta in November. Very excited to go to the inaugural one of that, especially with as much fanfare as they're putting on for international purposes. And then I am going to just mostly coast through local events probably until LVO. So, yeah.
I submitted my orcs for this weekend's Michigan GT.
Nice. I wish I could make Michigan GT. I'm running an RTT here locally. So, got to support my local first and foremost. But I wish you guys a ton of success out there in Michigan. It's normally a really good time.
Who's bringing 20 knobs? This guy.
Nice.
I'm punching people right, called shot, head.
Right in the head.
So here's the thing, though, Brad. We need to get another event in Toledo.
Yes.
Right. Not just for the reason that, number one, we have to come out because that taco place we ordered from the last time was so good that's all Zuber and I can talk
I
about.
love that you guys you're like, yeah. Invite me to a tournament. I won't show up for the tournament. You guys could just come visit. We'll take you to that restaurant.
I mean, there's a chance that could happen. You never know. It's only a 7-hour drive.
Salt City is in where is Salt City? Syracuse?
Syracuse, New York. So Syracuse used to be known as the Salt City, which is kind of a bizarre thing to be known as.
Screw you, Matt. Toledo #Toledo is not real.
So all right. So the story I got to tell about this one. So Matt and I are in a car, and we was like, "Look, man, we're driving to Michigan. Toledo doesn't exist. See, there's an exit sign there that says Toledo. Do you see Toledo from the highway?" I'm like, "Dude, you have to drive off the highway, go up a little bit, and boom, there's Toledo." He goes, "Nope, doesn't exist at all." So he's sticking to the story of Toledo doesn't exist. I'm really going to kidnap him from Rochester one day and just take him to Toledo. And he still might not think it's real. There's a chance.
He'll think you made it up.
It's time for roadies. We're rocking it out. Road trip coming in. It's good times. I'm psyched. I'm ready for tournament action. I'm ready for Mojo. I'm getting ready to play. I'm going to play Orcs this weekend. I'm going to play some Tau at Gemhammer. I got to figure out what I'm playing at Rumble in the Rivers, and I got to figure out what I'm playing at Du Bois.
Oh, I know what you're playing at Du Bois.
And are you just giving me an army again to play at Du Bois? Is that we're doing this? All right, screw it. I'm going to play a mystery army from Oregon. Please don't make me play that stupid Excrin or not Excrin, Toxicrin.
No, Brian, I won't do that. I will
play Nids though.
I will 100% give you Necrons. I think this time just for the sakes of doing it.
Oh, please no! Come on.
I'm gonna make you play Beat Boot. No, I could give you AdMech. Actually,
I will play AdMech before you know what? I'll send you the AdMech list. I will win your tournament and I will die afterwards. I made an AdMech list with six squads of 10 and 6 squads of 10, 3 individuals, and then I brought basically Noah's Ark with Rust Stalkers and
Isn't
Infiltrators.
That the list I sent you?
It was a version of that. I started making it my thing, and I was like, "Why am I making AdMech lists?" But it looks so ridiculously tough. You're like, it was wave after wave of idiots.
Remember when you said you couldn't play GSC because that was 120 dudes that you were going to have to move?
Oh, it's so much more. It's just 120 points of just battle line. Exactly. Toledo's one of the most overweight communities in America. That's why our food is awesome. And yes, it is where Klinger was from. And he always talked about Toledo things because it was awesome. Nothing's wrong with the Necrons. I only said that because I said there was going to be a lot of things to move, and then I said I'd play AdMech. Brad needs to come back to his Eldari roots now. I might, but I want to play. I like playing things when they're worse. So
Eldar is too good for Brad to play currently. He's the one. He has to debate both me and Tom into playing Eldar so he can live vicariously through us at Nova.
It is.
While he's having fun with orcs.
Brad, we can make it even worse on you. We can just give you all infantry guardsmen.
Oh no.
Think about
I'll
that.
forfeit so fast.
We can give you 60 Kriegsmen, 60 Katachin, and then 60 Cadians.
You know what? Don't you put that evil on me, Anna. Don't you put that evil on me. $5 super chat for Anna.
Make you play all regular dudes.
No,
the thing
that I least like about dwarves is dwarven wizards. Not a thing. Boo!
I am so tempted to accept donations and then to make you a Votan list to play for one of these events.
I'd play Votan, but screw those Grimnars.
Nope, you're gonna have a Grimnar in it. You're gonna have 2 Grimnars in it.
Why? I'm putting it out here. Don't you put that evil on me. man.
Oh, I would do the endless swarm nids to him in a second if I thought he wouldn't break all my little bugs.
Like constantly. I would have them on top of each other, just push them as a group together.
That it would be this pile of guys moves over here. This pile of guys moves over here.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might actually murder me. You guys are actually trying to kill me. You're like, look, guys, we've already put together the Bradchester Memorial Tournament while you were still alive. Now we need to kill you to make it an actual thing. Oh my God. Can we put together a poll for Brad to play AdMech Guard or Votan Wizard? You know what? Screw it. I'm putting up the poll. Start a poll. What's the question? Army for Du Bois. Du Bois GT. We've got AdMech Horde. Votan Wizards. That just feels dirty.
Guard, all men.
Guard, Horde.
Or
endless multiple.
Tyranids, Horde.
Tyranids, and I'll just put endless swarm. Poll is up. I feel like none of these are going to be good for me.
Or they're all going to be the best for you.
It's going quick.
The Votan, you don't have to worry about playing the Endless Horde. Yeah. You showed too much negativity.
No, yes, he does, because we would still make it like 50 guys.
I could play that easy. That's what I already have. But the thing is where I wouldn't attach them to squads. You'd be like, hey, why are your wizards just running out in the open? Kill them. They deserve it.
You know what will happen? Your opponents won't kill them because they'll think it's too much of a trap.
Yes, it's a trap. He's some sort of trick. He's got some kind of Yin Karn thing where guys are gonna come over.
God, can you imagine if the Einir champion had any Incarn effect?
What are we at so far? Votan Wizards running away with it so far. Oh, this is. Oh my God.
This is amazing.
No matter what, Brad's back's gonna hurt at the end of the day, and I'm gonna have to buy him wine.
My back hurts thinking about this.
No. He'll be fine. If he plays dwarves, he'll be with his own kind, so it won't hurt.
And he won't have to reach, down very far to move him across the board.
Exactly,
I have made the AdMech list. I'm not gonna lie. And the AdMech list really worries me because that is so many models. When I sat down and I went, do I have 2 infiltrators, 2 units of rust stalkers, 3 units of raiders, 120 Vanguard / Rangers, and then I'm putting in more stuff. I was like, oh my God, this is so many people. I'm gonna die. It's not even so many people, it was so many units. Like, because each one was its own thing. I think I had like 30 something actual drops.
Just think the amount of squad markers we have to have for that game.
Man, I can't even imagine how you're going to unpack that list. You're going to have to put things in strategic reserve because your friggin' deployment zone won't have enough room.
Oh, it's gonna be crazy. I'll do like I did in Orcs the one year at Nova. Alan sent me over Orcs and mailed it to me, and I'm staying with Kramer, and I go, it was literally the morning of, I have to walk downstairs to play, and I go, well, I guess I better open up this package that he FedExed me and see if the army's actually in here. And I just started taking it out. He's like, you haven't even bothered to even pretend. Look, I'm like, I have faith. It's all here. It'll work itself out.
It'll be fine.
And then Brad counted and went, oh yeah, there's 11 models in this unit.
Oh, shut your face. So, look, man, so it took me 3 tournaments to find out that Gretchen have 11 model units and Squig Hogs have 3 attacks in their jaws. So, I rolled 2 for 3 GTs. It's no big deal. So, where are we at here? We're going towards the end. Votan Wizards are still winning.
Yep.
You have access to a Votan list that you can get for him? Fine.
I'm sure I can pull that off.
Votan Wizards. You might want to get me a book of grudges.
I will have to just, get a Votan army somehow for him. Shouldn't be that hard.
Let me know if it comes down to the absolute worst case scenario. If you can't find one, I'll just ship you mine.
Okay.
Painting it.
John, no. Alternative proso list with no models less than 300 points. No, my heart would stop beating. I freak out when I pay out more than 100 points for anything.
No, make him play knights. He said that he can make knights work. Make him make knights.
If I change, can I change all the rules?
Oh no, you have to demonstrate right now why they're not bad.
Wait. So we should have put my dream army in there to get Brad to play.
Which is
100% Agents of the Imperium.
You can't even. Is 2,000 points of Agents of the Imperium?
Yeah, because you take a Warhound Titan and then
that's where you put a Warhound in.
God damn it!
You don't want to have 300 points in one model. We'll give you 1,100 points in one model.
Oh my god! It was saying Anna goes, if only Brad knew someone with 5,000 points of Votan. I was like, maybe I do. Maybe I do. What you doing, buddy? So, the triple doc, Jesus Christ, the Toxicrid. That thing is unbelievably hard to maneuver, by the way.
It was very fun watching you try to maneuver that around a board in the second round, and you were like, can I cut his arms off?
Yeah, I'm just like, I can't actually go anywhere. Will you charge me? No? Well, crap. It's gonna take me a couple minutes here as I lose like 8 inches of movement doing a wheel maneuver fantasy style, trying to wing my arms around something.
He was just trying to reach out and hug everything.
Yes.
Exactly.
He has all the love. All right. Hit me up with last thoughts, and we're going to rock and roll. We're going to Queenswave out of here.
My last thoughts is I think Brandon was wrong about Space Marines. I think there's going to be 3 viable builds out of that book, and it's going to be very interesting to see him eat crow.
Oh, strong words from a strong man. Charlie, what you got for me, Dan?
As the original purpose, who even got our friend the Playmaker started on Astraeus, I think that people are sleeping on the Iron Hands Astraeus, and I think it's going to be great.
And Wizards win. That's all I have to say. On that note, stay milky.